Hello everyone, Happy New Year. This is William. As you probably know already, if you ended up on my channel, I'm building a premium starter kit for React Native. So these are like templates for the UI, but also the backend if you want to use Firebase. So these are packages that help you to bootstrap a project very quickly. So I built a social media app, to-do app, there is a Airbnb clone and so on. And recently Sketch has released a very cool UI kit called Elements, and it offers really some beautiful screens. And also, the UI kit is very interesting. What's also very interesting is how the UI kit is implemented in Sketch, because it's really done using symbols. And I would say, I think in Sketch you have symbols and overrides. And it's funny because in React Native in React we have components and properties. So it's there is a very interesting symmetry going on here. And so if I open the Sketch file, and you see here so I have these two cards. So it's a card symbol, and it has some overrides. So very, very similar to the way we do things in React Native. So here I have my list of components, symbols, but looks like a list of components and so on. And yeah, so I really couldn't resist the envy of building it in React Native, especially considering that symmetry. So you see on the right I have the recipe screen, categories, then I have the recipe, and we also the cross-platform action sheet. It has some animations, which are all the animations are completely native. So I'm trying to really, if I'm animating something, to only use what is supported by the native driver. So here we have the restaurant page, list of restaurants. You can click on one. See, make a reservation. So very I have a date picker here. You can select some people. So this is for the food. So there are, I think, how many themes? There are 5 themes. So food, social, music, photography, travel. And I started to do, barely got started, but I started to do the social UI kit. So you see there is this first screen where I have the feed working. I need to implement stories. So this screen is not finished. Then I need to go on implementing the other screens. So of course there are some components which are shared between UI kits. So for instance, the feed is common to the different apps. Some components are really completely specific to a special app. So for instance, here we have like the social media card with social media header and with the handle and name. This one is only used in the social kit. So I'm building all these React components which are matching one-to-one. I'm trying to keep as much symmetry as possible with the symbols which are defined in the Sketch. And some are common to all the apps. So I have if you look in my folder structure here, can I zoom in actually in the folder structure now? So you see I have, okay, the welcome page, I have one folder for each app. So I have food and social, I have components, which is all the components which are shared between apps. And then, so if I dig into one, let's say one app, so I have social, for instance, I have API, which contains the model definition of the data and some sample data. So here you see post.json, users.json. And then I have a component folder again, which contains components which are only used in the social app. And then I have one JavaScript file per screen. So here I have only one screen so far, timeline. If I look in food, where I implemented more screens, so you have the recipe, recipes, restaurants, restaurant, and category. So which are exactly the 5 screen from the sketch file. And also I have the components folder and the API folder, which contains model definition and some sample data. So I'm trying really to match as close as possible the structure of the sketch file. Meaning that if I go here, one screen is one screen, one component is one component, but yeah. So I decided, I thought it could be useful, since I'm implementing these screens, I thought it would be useful to record some coding sessions, so maybe you find it helpful to see how it's done. I'm gonna try to make as many recordings as possible. Sometimes I'm working from a cafe, so I won't be able to do a recording, but if I'm at home, like right now, I will definitely do a recording. It's actually, I'm recording from Zurich. It's actually right now 6:25 a.m. I'm not sure what happened. I woke up super early, just made some coffee, and yeah, let's get started. And I think what we need to do now in order to finish this screen, which looks pretty good already, I think, is to add the stories component, which is what's missing. So yeah, let's go ahead. So let's open the timeline screen, and so here we use a feed component, which is used to, to have like this consistent header look with the animation. So I don't know if you noticed, but there's a small animation. There's actually also an animation running here to do the bounce of the list, and that the header stays sticky. So try to have really iOS native look. And so if I want to implement the story here, I need to add some sort of extra header to the feed component. So if I look in the feed implementation, here is where is the header? Yeah, here is the header, and yeah, I think I need to add an extra property so we can add some extra header to the feed. And in this case, that would be our stories component, which is here. So can I directly add let's try to add it here directly at the bottom. So I'm gonna add a header, which comes from the properties, and I'm gonna add an extra property which is optional, and so let's do and we're gonna create a stories component. So the stories component is specific to the social app. We will only use it in the social app, so I can put it in the components folder of the social app. And so let's create a stories component. Okay. Okay. And so let's try something very simple. Let's just try to have just the white background. There is some shadow as well, I can see. So let's try to get this working. So let's put some styling to the view. So maybe we need to put some, okay, height is 80, so let's do that. All right, let's have a look. Gonna sip some coffee in the meantime. Okay. So that actually looks good. You can add a white background. And also some shadows. Oh, yeah. So we need to move the header in the feed component. I assumed this wouldn't work, so let's look. Style header, yeah, add some padding. So we need to nest the text into a different view, and this view will have the padding. So I can remove it from here. Makes even things a bit cleaner actually. Let's try. That actually looks good. Very cool. Let's see. The bounce animation seems to work very nicely. Perfect. Exact. Very good. So let's add some shadows now. So I have two classes, one which is style guide, and style guide contains all the design constants. I mean, I can open it here actually. All the design constants that is needed in the app. So typographies, again here, you know, like the typography is one-to-one copied with the is copied completely from the sketch file. So it's really based on the same design system. Spacing, and then there are some styles also which are used across the apps, and then you have theme, which is essentially the style guide plus variables which are specific to an app, and essentially in the UI kit there's only two variables which are specific to the app, is the primary color and the secondary color, which actually is secondary color is a blend of the primary color. So in fact there is actually only a single value which is different across apps. And so I have predefined the shadow style, which where is it? Which is used across all apps. So let's add some, so I can import the style guide. And use the shadow style. Right, yeah, looks good. Now I need to, I guess I need to add some stories to the API. Let's see. So export type story. So what do we have? Some ID maybe. So definitely the user. Picture. Timestamp also. I mean, actually it's kind of like a post, but where the picture would be mandatory, I guess. Okay, maybe I will do this later. I'm just right now. Maybe I will focus here on the components that need to be built. So I think we have three components. So we have the adding a story, a new story, so an unseen story, so which is essentially an avatar with the this little notification dot, and then there is red story, so there is no dot but some opacity. And what I do have as built as a component, as you can see here, I do have the avatar component, which is built already. So maybe I'm gonna just add some properties to the avatar, or yeah, let's see. So let me just add a couple of avatars. So I can, let's say, add 1, 2, 3. And so what? So let's look at the component size, URI stacked. So let me get a couple of users from the API. I get, let's say, 3 users. I need to import the API. And I forgot to import the avatar component. Okay. All right. So I need to add flex direction row. I think I need to make it bigger also, maybe, or 48. Let's see. Yeah, probably, and we need also to center it. Align items, center. What's the default size of an avatar? 36, so let's put 38. And okay. And actually we need to, so this will become content container style, and this becomes a scroll view. And I'm not sure the name of the property to make the scroll view horizontal. Is it horizontal equals true? Maybe. Let's check quickly. Horizontal is. Okay. Now, do I need to expand the scroll view? Let's see. No, it doesn't work. Why am I losing? Or do I need to add it here? Okay. Looks good. Oh, that's not good. So let's. So actually, I can keep this, and in feed, wrap it into white background. Extra header. Okay. So the shadow also should be added here actually. So stories should remove the shadow, add it to the extra header, style shadow, and probably I need to, so that looks great. I need to, let's see if I created the regression to the regular. No, doesn't look like I created any regressions if I'm not using the extra header. So okay, I guess that's good. And so now let's add this little dot. So so I will add a property called notification. That means let me think. Or let's maybe now I will keep the avatar component clean and I will make a new component based on avatar. So I can create a story component and with a unread property. So if unread is true, you will have this little dot appearing. If not, no dot and some reduced opacity to how much? 30%. Okay. So let's create the story component. Alright, so we did an encapsulating view, the avatar, so size 38, URI, which we will get from the property. Okay, so let's create the props for story. Oops. So we have unread as a boolean, the URI as a string. Oops. Okay. So I can remove this property. That looks good. So if it's unread, I need to add a little dot. Okay. So let's create the style for the dot. So how big is the dot in the sketch file? 10. Okay. So height 10, width 10, border border radius 5. Background color is the primary color. So to access the primary color, we cannot do it statically like this. So let me think. So I have a decorator that can inject the theme property to the component, so you can access the primary color of the app, which in this case is purple. So the way it works, if you go in a welcome screen, when you pick an app, we switch theme color. So here it's green for food, purple for social, and then reset to the navigation stack for that particular app using React Navigation. Okay, so I guess for now we'll just inject the theme. So I can create the story component, which is using with theme. And I can import it here. And so this means that I need to import the theme props. From component theme. And so story props includes theme props. So now I have access to the theme property. And I can add background color. So theme.palette.primary. And yeah, let's see. Oh, okay. There's another way to do this. Let's see if just to show you. So here I'm using with theme and I'm computing the style within the component. But if you want to have the style pre-computed, there is also the with style decorator. Let me check if I'm using it somewhere. I'm using it in date picker. So here I'm computing the style, receiving as property the theme. I'm defining the style names. And so I'm using with style. I'm giving it the style as property. And so in the component, there is a styles property which is injected, which has all the styles computed based on the theme, and you can use it directly in the component. So let's see. Okay, perfect. So I have the little purple dot, and now I need to move it to the top and to the right. And if I look at and I need to add some white border with to border color white. Oh, I forgot to put position absolute. Looks good. Is it too small? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because of the I guess the border. So maybe in 12, 6. All right, and for the story, maybe I can add some padding. Oops. And if it's red, we add opacity 30%. So opacity, if it's unred, it's 1. If not, it's 30%. Cannot find variable. Oh. Oh yeah, that's not good. So padding horizontal. Yes, actually that's, I mean, yeah, what I can do, I guess, here is to, I mean, maybe I should use margin instead. Perfect. And if I do unred equals false, yeah, looks good. Very cool. All right, I guess I'm gonna keep it like this for now, clean it up a little bit offline, and yeah, I will make a new recording as soon as possible. So thank you for watching. I hope you find it useful, and hopefully there is much more to come. So yeah, thank you. Bye.